What are you doing? Oh, she's so cute. Oh, I have my little spinner candle thingy and it like reflects the light and she goes kind of crazy for it, honestly. Oh, she looks so sad that I took it away. Anyway, hey. Hello, everybody. And welcome back to my channel. Winnie is obviously joining us in the background here. It's really nice of her. Still looking for those lights. But today I'm obviously going to be starting yet another reading vlog for you guys. I actually was not initially planning on starting filming a vlog today, but yesterday I started a book that I am just really excited that I'm finally getting to and I want to talk about it. And then I started to think through the TBR that I could have for this video and I was like, hold on. I want to vlog this. So that means we are at the start of a slightly impromptu reading vlog, but I am very excited for it nonetheless. So I have 4 books that I want to maybe read in this vlog. I am filming this probably over like the next week, so that should be enough time to finish these, especially because one of these I'm only reading a single story out of. So let me just quickly talk through the TBR and then we will get into the rest of this video. So the book that I started yesterday that I just really am excited about and I wanted to share it with you guys because it is going to be my very first classic of the year and I'm so excited that I'm finally getting back into classics because I feel like every time I start a new one, I'm always like, why am I not reading these more often? You know what I'm saying? So yesterday I started Persuasion by Jane Austen. Do you have something to say? Yeah? I actually have previously started Persuasion. I'm pretty sure I made it even farther than I am now, but honestly, I remember absolutely nothing of what I read. Like, this all feels very new. I read the first chapter, I was like, have I read this before? Like, I'm very confident that I have, but like, I got nothing. Nothing at all. I also know I was 100% not picking up on any relevant themes the first time I was reading this book. So I'm glad that I decided to kind of stop reading it the first time and then I'm picking it up now because I am thoroughly enjoying it. And it's also just been a minute since I read a Jane Austen work and I always love them, obviously. So I'm currently on page 92. This one is rather short. I think it's only like 250-ish pages. 247, so I definitely will be able to finish this probably this weekend because it's currently Saturday morning and I do want to focus on like finishing this up over the next 2 days. But I have also been annotating it and it is so satisfying. I love annotating classics so much. I always feel like I just get the most out of them when I'm annotating them, and I was flipping through my copy of Great Expectations, which I annotated last year, and it's just so satisfying. And I loved reading this book and like annotating it so much, so I just wanted to do it again. So I wanted to do the same with Persuasion, and I feel like there are just a lot of things to talk about in this book. There's a lot of discussion of kind of the changing of class structure that was going on in England at the time. I think that's been really interesting. I also love learning like new things when I read classics because there's so many like words and phrases and concepts that we don't use nowadays, and it's really interesting to be able to like research those and like write about it in the book. So I'm just having a really good time reading this and I just wanted to share that experience with you guys. So as I said earlier, will be finishing this up this weekend and I'm quite excited. So I will talk about this a little bit more later when I have like a proper update for you, but I am in the middle of this. But I do have 3 other books that I'm hoping to finish this week. The first one of these is actually another book that I'm currently in the middle of, but it's a short story collection, so it's like a little bit different from like truly being in the middle of it, you know? Because I have 1 short story left. Well, like kind of, before I finish this book, and I want to take this week as the opportunity to kind of finish it up. And that is Arcanum Unbounded by Brandon Sanderson. I've been slowly making my way through this book over the last couple of months. Normally, I'm absolutely awful at starting, continuing, and finishing short story collections. For the most part, it doesn't happen. But because obviously I love the Cosmere so much, this certainly has not been an imposition, and I'm having a really good time reading it. And the only like kind of 2 stories that I have left to read in here are Sixth of the Dusk, which looks to be only about 50 pages, and then I also have the like kind of novelized version of White Sand. There's also like the comics are in the middle of this book, but I'm not reading comics out of this book. I probably will pick up White Sand at some point just because I'm really curious about it, but I'm not gonna read it out of this like normal paperback. But there's like the first chapter of the novelized version of it that Brandon Sanderson started writing at one point, and I do want to read that. So I have 2 stories out of here that I really want to finish, and it should not take me long at all. And then I actually do have another Brandon Sanderson book, which I have been so freaking excited for, because I'm finally going to be reading Yumi and the Nightmare Painter. I feel like, I don't know if I want to put this out there, because I thought I was really gonna love Tress too, and I didn't really enjoy Tress that much. It's not Tress's fault. I just really cannot get into cozy fantasy. It's like really not my thing, which shocks me, because it seems like something conceptually that I would really like, but I just don't. So I didn't love Tress of the Emerald Sea. However, I'm just getting the vibe. You know, the vibe that this one is going to be my favorite out of the secret projects. But I've been waiting, anticipating, dreaming of starting this book. You know what I'm saying? Because I wanted to read more books in the Cosmere before I got to this one, and this is like one of the last books that I have to read now that I've finished Mistborn Heir 2, so I cannot wait to get into this, and I will be finishing this week, and it's just so beautiful. Also, the Kickstarter edition is so stunning. Look at it, the pink and the blue. Oh, I can't wait. So that will be happening for sure. And then the last book is a book that I've been meaning to read for quite a while. I just keep kind of putting it off because I feel like it's gonna make me sad. But that is The Traveling Cat Chronicles by Hiro Arikawa. Anything relating to cats, whether they die or not, honestly makes me want to cry. And I feel like this book will make me cry. So I guess we'll see. Honestly, like nothing gets me more emotional than thinking about my cats. So I'm a little bit scared. However, I saw somebody mention this in a video recently and I was like, I want to read that. So I immediately drove to a library near me that had it, and now I need to read it this weekend. So I honestly don't know what this book is about, but it's so freaking cute. And honestly, if I like it, I will have to acquire a copy of it because first of all, the cover is gorgeous, but also it's got little illustrations in it, like for the different chapters. Like, look at this. Oh my god, it's so cute. Oh my god, look at this one. Sorry, I'm just so excited about it. But I will also be reading this one. So the TBR, you know, it looks a little bit chunky, but it's honestly not that bad. So here it is. We have a nice blue and green theme going on. Very beautiful. Stunning. So those are all of the books that I'm hoping to read in this video. I just really want to have a nice chill week doing some reading. So yeah, I'm really excited about this vlog. I hope you guys are too. So without further ado, we are just going to get into it. So I think the thing that I want to start with is reading some more of Persuasion. I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish this today, but I'll probably be able to like make a decent amount of progress. So it's kind of my first goal of the vlog. I also do really want to play some more Hollow Knight. I've been talking about Hollow Knight a lot recently in my videos, but I want to keep you guys updated. I have not made any progress since I last talked to you. However, my brother is coming over today and I'm gonna see if he'll beat a boss for me. Because I love Hollow Knight so much. It's so beautiful. I love the like gameplay, but I hate the boss battles so much because it's just the same thing over and over and over again, and it's infuriating, and I'm really bad at it. So I'm gonna see if he will beat a boss for me so I can like unlock other cool things that I can go do, because I love exploring the map, but I just hate the actual boss fights so much. So I'm going to hopefully kind of remedy that problem so I can play some more of it tonight. I've also really been into watching movies while I game, so I think I might watch Kiki's Delivery Service tonight, because in my last vlog I did read the kind of novel that it was based off of, and it really made me want to rewatch the movie. So I might have to do that as well. Sounds kind of fun. So those are kind of my general plans for today, but I've been rambling long enough. So I'm gonna go get into reading some of Persuasion, and I will see you guys later. So it is now Sunday morning. I did not end up watching Kiki's Delivery Service last night because our power went out because the weather was really bad last night. I definitely still plan to watch it at some point, but like that definitely derailed my plans a bit, and it's a little rude. But I did make some good progress in Hollow Knight. I did make my brother beat that boss for me, and I've been able to explore the map a little bit more, and it's been so fun. I go through these ups and downs with Hollow Knight. In case you're wondering like what the hell I'm talking about, it's my Switch game. I go through these ups and downs with it where I'm like, oh my god, this is so fun, I love it so much. But there are also parts where I'm like, oh my god, I hate this, I'm so frustrated, these fights are so repetitive and I cannot get past them. But I can't stop playing. Like, I've put 60 hours into this game so far, and I am going to beat it if it kills me, okay? So that's kind of where I'm at with Hollow Knight. But I do actually also have a reading update for you because I did read a little bit more of Persuasion. I think I read about 40 pages yesterday maybe, but I made it to page 135. I made it to volume 2, which, can I say, I love it when classics are split into different volumes. Like, it's the same reason why I love when books now are split into like different volumes or parts, because I always feel like I have that little added motivation to like get to the next part, get to the next volume. Like I always just want to make it to that next stopping point. It's always just so satisfying. But basically, if you guys don't know what Persuasion is about, I mean, obviously I know Jane Austen is very popular, so a lot of you probably do. But before I started reading this book the first time, I didn't know what it was about. So basically, you're following our main character, Anne, who was persuaded like 7 years before this book takes place, I believe, to break off her engagement because a couple of people in her life did not think that the man that she was engaged to was like of the correct social class for her, basically. However, 7 years later, some events transpire and they end up kind of being in the same circle again. So it's like a little bit of a second chance romance situation. Like, I normally... do I like second chance romance in contemporary books? I'm not sure, honestly. I feel like, well, I guess The Ex-Hex, which is like one of my favorite romance books, is second chance romance. I don't know. I don't like have a strong inclination for or against it, I suppose. Like, if it's there, it's fine, but it's not like my favorite trope, I guess. But I just love the yearning that adds into the story. And I just think it's so fun. Like, I wrote this little note in here somewhere, if I can find it back. And I said, this is why I love historical romance, whether it's written nowadays or actually in those historical periods. The romances are so understated, which is, I love that in this book. Because literally at some point, he just asked how she was. And I was like, oh my god, they're in love. Like, they're so in love. And I just think that's so fun. But they're definitely like, there's some lingering stares. There are some moments where they like bump into each other. It's really awkward. They share a few like strained words with each other. And I just think it's cute. I don't think Frederick is like gonna be one of my favorite Jane Austen love interests. That title absolutely still goes to Henry Tilney from Northanger Abbey. I love that man. Granted, I've only read 2 other Jane Austen works. So like I have not read Emma, Mansfield Park, or Sense and Sensibility, so like they're not currently in the running, but I feel like Henry's I just loved him so much in that book, so he currently takes the cake. So I like all of that, but I also just really enjoy how the concept of persuasion is used and portrayed in so many different ways in this book. Obviously in Anne's case, it was used in a very negative sense, where she was persuaded to not marry the man that she clearly loved and she clearly still loves, and she's like still feeling very hurt over the situation, even though it was like her fault, but she was persuaded by people very close to her to like not do this, and she was very young and impressionable at the time, so that's like not good. But there are also some situations that have arisen throughout the book where somebody being a little bit more perceptible to persuasion probably would have done them some good. And there are a lot of other ways that it is exemplified through this book, and I just think it's interesting how it's being used in so many different ways. And also another huge theme, which is very prevalent in this book and a lot of classics obviously, is like class structure and how that's been changing. A lot of the characters in this book are very conscious of social class and don't want to like associate with anybody below their social class. Mainly I'm talking about like everybody in Anne's family, because they all suck. Literally the first chapter of this book focuses on how vain and classist Anne's father and like the rest of her family is basically, and they're awful. Like, I feel like Jane Austen knows how to write characters that like get under your skin and they're just awful. And mainly I'm talking about Anne's sister Mary, because she gets on my nerves. Like, she is so over dramatic and she loves to make things about her, even though like there's this big situation that kind of happens towards the end of the first volume of this book. Well, like, it's kind of big. It's like big for a Jane Austen book, you know what I'm saying? And she still finds some way to make it about her. And I'm like, girl, go home. But anyway, the book is kind of just, you know, continuing to progress in that general manner, and I'm liking it a lot. I'm liking this so much more than I was the first time that I tried to read this book, and I'm really happy to report that, because I do want to read all of Jane Austen's books at some point, but I was like kind of dreading getting back to this one, but I decided to start with it for some reason, and I'm really liking it. Like, this whole second chance romance situation I'm excited about, and I've also heard that there's a letter that Captain Wentworth writes to Anne at the end of this book, and I'm so freaking excited to read it because people rave about it. And I'm like, I just want to hear the Jane Austen romance declaration, please. Because I feel like there's so many quotes that I've heard from Jane Austen books that every time I hear them, I'm like, oh, imagine. Oh man, like there's this one line from Emma, I think, which is like the main reason I really want to get to Emma, where I think like the love interest in that one is like, if I loved you less, I'd be able to talk about it more. And I'm like, oh my god, what a line. Like, I just love that line so much, and I really want to read Emma so I can like read it in the context that like it's used in. Yeah, I'm just really excited for that. So I definitely want to make a lot of progress in this today. I don't want to commit to finishing it, but I'd like to finish it. I'm only like 100 pages away from the end of the book, so maybe? We'll see. I also do think I want to do a little bit of baking this afternoon because that sounds fun. I'd like to make some bread. I really want to get better at making bread. Literally the only thing that I've made before are like little rolls, but I want to make like a loaf. So I might do that this afternoon because that sounds kind of quaint, kind of fun to make some bread. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna read some more of this, and I will get back to you guys probably on Tuesday because one of my friends is coming into town tomorrow, and I'm so excited because I haven't seen her in so long, so I'm gonna like spend the day with her. So I'll probably catch up with you guys on Tuesday. All right, so it is a few days later. It's actually Thursday now. I've had just some life things come up, but I am here back to pick up the vlog because I do have some fun updates for you. First of all, I did make my bread. That was the last thing that you guys saw, and it was almost really good. The recipe that I used for that bread is meant to be split up into little dinner rolls, but I decided to just like put it all in one loaf, so I don't think I had the correct oven temperature to cook it. So like the outside bits of the bread were like cooked fine, but the inside was still kind of raw. I didn't realize that, and I didn't put it back in the oven, so I had to like throw out the middle of my bread. However, the outside bits were pretty good. So I would say the bread, for the most part, was a success. Quite happy about that. Also, my friend did come to visit on Monday, and it was so much fun. We ended up going like shopping, we went out to eat, and we also went to the art museum that is like in the kind of city-ish that I live in, and it was so much fun. And we went to their gift shop, and they had these really cute metal bookmarks, and I was like, obviously, I'm gonna acquire a metal bookmark. And this one was just honestly kind of perfect, because look at this. Like this little cat in front of a window. This is from, oh, I don't have the papers over there, but it's like a painting that somebody did. And it's on a metal bookmark, and it's so cute. But then as for reading updates, I do have quite an exciting one because I have finally finished Persuasion by Jane Austen, and I loved the ending of this book. Like, I got to the letter that Captain Wentworth writes Anne, and I was like, oh my god. Imagine somebody writing that letter to you. It was so stunning, so romantic. I loved this book, honestly. I don't know if it's my favorite Jane Austen or not. I do think I need to reread Pride and Prejudice to kind of make that assertion, but I am like potentially planning on doing that soon because I saw in Pango that they had the Penguin English Library edition of it, which will like kind of match this one, so I bought it and it should be getting here today because this is my current edition of Pride and Prejudice. Like, it's not bad, but like I just didn't really like annotating this one, and I didn't really like write anything in this, so I don't really feel like an urge to keep this. I like this illustration, I think it's really pretty, but I also love the Penguin English Library one, so I decided to acquire that. And I also acquired the Penguin cloth bound for Persuasion because I also found that on Pango for like $10, and I was like, that's a pretty good deal for that. Because I love the feathers on this and I love the cloth bounds, but I only want to buy cloth bounds of classics that I've read, so I bought one. I don't know when that's getting here, but I'm really excited about it. But anyway, back to talking about Persuasion. I just have so many things to talk about right now, I think. I think I can say that Anne is my favorite Jane Austen main character. She's definitely a lot more timid than her other main characters, but I just think I related to her a lot more in that aspect, and I just loved how like level-headed and calm and reasonable she was. It's also probably because she's a little bit older than Jane Austen's other main characters. I mean, she's not like super old, she's like 28 or something, but I think the rest of her main characters are kind of on the younger side, so Anne's like, you know, a little bit more seasoned, I suppose. But I just loved Anne. I loved the second chance romance aspect to the story. It was just so good. Honestly, like, I was eating it up. Like, anytime they were in the same room, I was like, oh my god, they're in love. Like, can you believe? I loved them so much. And I really need to watch an adaptation of Persuasion, but I am certainly not watching the new one that was on Netflix because I've heard nothing but awful things about it. If you guys know of a good Persuasion adaptation, please let me know because I really want to watch one now because I loved this book. But this book was just so good. I am so excited to read some more of Jane Austen's work, hopefully soon, because obviously I do want to read all 6 of like the full-length ones. And I've read 3 of them so far, which I would say is pretty good progress on that goal. I also just feel like Jane Austen writes super entertaining characters, which is also a reason that I love her work, because there are so many characters in this book that I love, but there are also like a majority of them I just absolutely cannot stand. Like, she writes characters that are so irritating and like so infuriating, but they're written so well that like you love to hate them. And I feel like the contrast between Anne and the characters in this book that I hated so much made me love her as a main character even more, because I was like, thank you for not being like the absolute worst. But anyway, I'm just so glad that I finally got around to reading Persuasion. I'm thinking I might read Emma next. I'm not sure, but I did buy a copy of it. I've bought a lot of Jane Austen books in like the last week. I've been like just really excited about it, so I have a few coming and I can't wait for them. But as for what I'm gonna pick up next, I'm so excited that I'm going to pick up Yumi next. And I cannot wait because I just think it's gonna be so good. I feel like I've already read one really good book this week and I have one up next on the docket. So I'm going to actually not start reading yet because I do have a little bit of like bookshelf maintenance, I guess. I'm not really gonna do like reorganizing, but I did film my May wrap up this morning, so I do have like all of my books off my shelves from that, and then I just have like some general things that like I don't know what to do with those, so I'm gonna like do a little bit of that this morning, and then I'm gonna get into Yumi and the Nightmare Painter. I also got my audiobook hauled in from the library a couple of days ago, and I love the Cosmere audiobook so much, so I'm so glad that I have it so I can listen to it while I read it. It's just gonna be an amazing experience, and I cannot wait. So I'm going to get into doing some bookshelf things, and then I will chat to you guys later. It is Saturday morning. I do have a couple of just things that I wanted to update you on, so hello. First, I do want to show you the 3 books that I have acquired since the last time I talked to you. 2 of them being classics, which I did tell you about in my last update, but one of these I haven't told you about, and I'm really excited about that one too. So as for the 2 classics, I did get my Penguin English Library copy of Pride and Prejudice. I love the cover of this one, casting shadows on it, sorry. I just really like the yellow, the design on it. It's beautiful, and I cannot wait to add it to my classics shelf. Same thing with this Penguin Classics Deluxe Edition of Emma. I feel like sometimes I get really overwhelmed when I try and like pick out copies of classics because there are so many different editions. There's maybe too many options, but this one of Emma definitely kind of drew my eye, and I do really love the cover of this one. I also just love the construction of the Penguin Classics Deluxe editions because they're so nice. They've got like the deckled edges, they have really nice like French flaps, little illustrations on them. So I am a little bit intimidated by Emma because it is around, well, I mean, it's 400 pages. I guess the text on these pages is like a pretty decent size. I feel like a lot of time with classics, the text, the font size, this lighting is crazy this morning. The font size is like always kind of small, but I feel like this has a really nice font size, so I guess that's whatever. You guys don't care about this, I'm sorry. But I don't really know too much about Emma aside from the fact that she is handsome, clever, and rich. That's all I got. So I'm quite excited about it. I know a lot of people love it, but I also know a lot of people really dislike Emma, so like the character, not necessarily the book. So I'm quite excited to get into this. I'm really hoping I can read this soon. I feel like I always have to like go with my momentum on classics. Like if I read one, I need to like use that excitement of finishing a classic to like start another one. So we will see if that is actually what I do with Emma. I'm hoping so. I hope so. And then the last book that I have to show you is one that I'm so excited about because I've seen so many people reading and loving this book recently, and it seems like something I would really enjoy. So I decided to buy a copy of it. And that is The Crimson Moth by Kristen Cicerelli. This is the UK hardback edition, just because I prefer this edition to the US edition, but in the US it is called Heartless Hunter. It looks like this. Like, they're both stunning covers, but I just love the red on this one, and it's like the red moth. Crimson, I guess you might call it. And I'm so excited about this one because it's like a fantasy romance situation with a witch and a witch hunter. And I'm a sucker for things like that. Like, I will read it and probably really enjoy it. So I'm so excited to have my little grubby hands on this. Really hoping I like it. I feel like I will. So yeah, there's a little bit of book mail for the morning. Really good stuff. And then, in another exciting turn of events, I guess, I do have a reading update for you because I did start Yumi and the Nightmare Painter, and I'm on page 183 now. Originally I was hoping to give you guys an update a little bit earlier, but I started reading this book yesterday and like I couldn't stop. I love it so far, honestly. And I'm a little scared to put it out there that I'm thinking I might give this book a 5-star because I was really hoping I would really love this book. But as of now, I might. I don't know. Although at first with this book, I was really unsure because I read the first 20 pages and I was like, I don't know what's going on. I feel like it's been a minute since I've jumped into like a new high fantasy world, and even though I've read so many books by Brandon Sanderson, all of his worlds are so starkly different. Especially these two, because we are following two characters from two different planets, even though I believe they are in the same like system within the Cosmere. And one of them is very technologically advanced, but in like a very sci fantasy kind of way. So they're familiar concepts, but it's all just a part of this world that I'd have to learn so many things about. So like the first 2 chapters were introducing like the 2 different worlds that we're set on, and I was like, I don't know what's going on. But once I pushed past the 20-page mark, I feel like I blinked and I was almost 200 pages into the book. I feel like I've been reading this so fast, I literally didn't want to put it down last night, but I made it to part 3, I think, and I was like, all right, I gotta stop. I gotta stop so I can like give a good update for you guys like today. So I stopped where I was, even though I wanted to continue reading because I'm hooked. But as for what this book is about, I'm not going to tell you too much because I went into this book virtually knowing nothing and like kind of unraveling everything that goes on. I was like, I didn't expect any of that, but okay. We're following 2 main characters, one of them being Yumi, who is a Yoki-Hijo, I believe, and she's like this spiritual figure on her world that communicates with like actual spirits, and they then do things for the people of the world. So she's a very like important figure on her planet and like helping people survive. And in the beginning of the book, we're kind of following her. She goes through like a normal day in her life. It's certainly not normal, but it's like what she does every day because her whole life has essentially been dedicated to this like spiritual role that she holds, and it's kind of insane. Like, she said it herself that she doesn't even feel like a person. She feels like her only role is to serve the people of her planet. So obviously, like, not the best mindset to have. So I feel like this book is gonna kind of follow her as she works through this lot that she has been dealt in life. But on the flip side, we are following our other main character, Nikuro, who lives a very, like, somewhat normal life. He resides in a very metropolitan area. He lives in an apartment like a normal person, basically. It kind of just feels like our world, but like slightly tweaked, basically. And in his world, nightmares like physically manifest, basically, and they can like wreak havoc in the town. So they have these things called nightmare painters, and Nikuro is a nightmare painter, so he like goes around on patrol when he's on shift and he stops the nightmares from like terrorizing the people of this town, basically. And through some very wacky turns of events, they end up in each other's lives, shall we say. And the way that that has been like going so far has been so entertaining. Like, the dynamic between Yumi and Painter has been so fun to read. I just feel like they're both so awkward and they're both so different and their lives have been so different, but that stark difference is what makes it so entertaining to watch them try and like work together. There are certain reasons as to why they have to like be near each other all the time and like figure out why this has been happening to them. So I've loved watching them kind of navigate each other's worlds and how they're kind of coping with that. I think I like the chapters that are on Nikuro's world a bit better because, like I said, it's a very like city type of area, and Yumi comes from like a very, I don't know if they're primitive necessarily, but they're certainly not as technologically advanced as Nikuro's society is. So I find it a little bit more interesting to see her in like that more advanced society. I also love the way that this book is narrated because I didn't realize what exactly the narration style of this book was. I'll leave it at that before Cass told me about it like a few weeks ago. And ever since then, I've been so excited to get to it because I just love it. But it's so funny because it's almost told in like a second person narration style, like the narrator is talking to you as the reader. And I think that just works so well for a story like this, and it doesn't really like impact the reading experience because I feel like second person narration style sometimes is not my favorite. To be fair, I haven't read like a ton of books like that, but sometimes it's just like kind of jarring. But with the way that this is done, it just works really well. And if you love the Cosmere, you'll love it. Trust me. Also, speaking of the Cosmere, there have been so many Cosmere connections so far. I feel like this is definitely a book that I think you might want to wait to read until you've read a couple more books in the Cosmere. It's not like a definite you have to do that, but I think there are a lot of mentions of things that would make more sense if you've read more books in the Cosmere, and I think it makes it a little more fun if you're like aware of those things already. I've made so many connections. I mean, there are things that are just like explicitly on the page, but I feel like there are also like small things that I'm like, what if this is like this? And like, what if that's connected to that? And it's just so fun. As I've gotten further in the Cosmere and I've been able to like make these connections for myself, I feel like a sleuth, honestly, and it's like the best time. So I just love this book so far. I love the characters, I love the settings, I love the magic systems. Obviously, Brandon Sanderson has very interesting and unique magic systems, so I love those as well. And I also feel like this book is very different from his other books. I definitely feel like this takes place a little bit maybe later in the Cosmere timeline. I'm very blurry as to what the timeline exactly is, but like based on how technologically advanced one of these societies is, it's very different from a lot of his other series, and that's just been so interesting to see him kind of write. So I'm just absolutely loving it so far, and I cannot wait to read some more of it this morning, so I'm definitely going to hopefully read a lot of it. I mean, I'm like a third of the way through it already, and I started yesterday at like 4. So I would consider that great progress, and I would really like to finish it today or tomorrow. I'm gonna like aim for tomorrow because I don't want to get crazy, but like maybe I'll just go off and read it today. It kind of depends on how things go. So I am so excited to let you guys know that I'm absolutely loving Yumi and the Nightmare Painter so far. I was really disappointed. Well, I guess not disappointed. I just did not love Tress of the Emerald Sea as much as everybody else seems to, which makes me incredibly sad, but I was holding out hope that I would absolutely love Yumi and the Nightmare Painter, and so far it is seeming that way. I will be so sad if it does not stay that way. But so far, so good. So I'm going to go read some more of Yumi, and I will see you guys later. It is a little bit later. I wasn't going to give you guys an update today because I thought I was gonna I didn't think I was gonna finish this book. this quickly. It is currently 7 p.m. and I just finished Yumi and the Nightmare. I can't even talk about it. I can't even talk about it. I don't even have like the proper words to describe it. I absolutely loved this book. It is absolutely a 5-star read. It is one of my new favorite Cosmere novels, and I feel like potentially maybe my favorite standalone that he's done. Like probably, but also a lot of the other standalones that he's like done, they were written like a while ago, so I feel like it's not like super fair to compare them. I don't know. All I know is that I absolutely adored this book. It was so good. I just absolutely loved the characters. I loved the story, the way that everything unfolded. It was just, oh my god. I feel like we started on this like really small scale, and then as the book progressed, it just kept like building and building. And then at the end of the book, I was just like, I don't even know what's going on, but like in the best possible way. Also, the themes that it touches on and how that ties into the story are done so well, because it talks a lot about art, how we interact with it, what the value of art in society is, and I thought those bits were so interesting. But also talking about like how past trauma affects you in the current day, and like how our characters were dealing with that. And oh my god, it was just so good. So good. Also, the romance was kind of stunning. Like, I don't go to Brandon Sanderson for a romance, but honestly, I feel like for the most part, his are pretty good. Like, about as good as I would expect them to be, you know? But I absolutely loved what he did with the romance in this book. I feel like it was so well done. Like, I was eating it up. I was like, okay, give me more Brandon Sanderson romances, you know what I'm saying? Also, the art in this book is absolutely stunning. It is done by Aaliyah Chen. I'm not exactly sure if I'm pronouncing her name correctly, but oh my god, it is so beautiful. And there are so many illustrations in this book. This is the Kickstarter edition, so I'm not sure if these would be, I don't think they would be in the normal one, but like if you can, I don't know, like go look at these online or something, do it, because there are like 20 illustrations throughout the book, and the colors and the art style, it's so beautiful. Let me show you one that's like not spoilery. Look at this. Oh my god. Like, the art really like added something to the experience, and I was also listening to the audiobook for it while I was reading it. Got the whole like immersive reading experience thing going on, and the audiobook is narrated by Michael Kramer and Kate Redding, and they like go back and forth depending on like whose point of view, well, like kind of point of view that we're in, and they just do such a good job with the Cosmere audiobooks, and I just absolutely love this book. This is like one of my new favorites of the year. So good. I feel like, I wouldn't say I've been having like the worst reading year ever, but I feel like I haven't been finding any new favorites. But I'm really glad that I decided to pick up Yumi, because this is absolutely one of my new favorites. So good. Those are like my thoughts. I literally finished this book like 5 minutes ago, but I wanted to give you guys like my my fresh thoughts after finishing the book. I'm obsessed. I read like the last page and I was like, wiping away a few tears in the corner of my eyes, because it's just no. Actually, yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna like stop sharing these like half-baked thoughts with you guys. But like honestly, just listen to this quote that's on the back of the book. It says, "A person is more than their experiences stacked up like stones. Our best moments are the foundations we use to reach for the sky." And that is just, like, quote is so representative of this book, because like seeing what our characters have gone through in the past, whether those things are like their fault or not, and seeing how they are moving on and growing from those, oh it's just so stunning. Like, this book is just absolutely so stunning. I just couldn't stop reading it. It's such a good standalone. I thought the worlds that we were set on were really interesting, and I feel like this definitely has like a very different vibe from Brandon Sanderson's other books, because it does take a lot of influences from like, I think he said historical Korea and kind of current day Japan, and I thought that was just so interesting, and I thought he used those elements really well. And okay, I'm blathering on. Anyway, I do also have something else that I want to do in this update, because I got a package off my Amazon wishlist, and I already know who this is from because I already know this is from Cass. So I thought we could open this, and I thought that would be fun. I'm like riding the high of finishing Yumi right now, so I'm like, yeah, let's open some book mail. So let me see what it is, because like I don't know what it is. I lied. I don't think this is on my Amazon wish list. but she sent it to me anyway. This is a series that she has been absolutely obsessed with, and I've been very intrigued by it, so I'm really I feel like I've been keeping you guys in suspense over like what this is. But she sent me Frieren Beyond Journey's End Volume 1. She's been absolutely obsessed with this series recently. I feel like it's like all she's talking about, and I absolutely respect that because I did the same thing with Yona last year. So I'm so glad she has a manga series that she's like as obsessed with as I was with Yona. I feel like that's just such a fun like state to be in, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, look at this. So cute. I love the art. I cannot wait to get into this. Wait, that's so cute. It says the day you get this, June 1st, will mark 2 years since I got to meet you in person. That's right. 2 years ago, we met up for the very first time. That's insane. What a lovely anniversary. I need to text her about that. Although we are gonna FaceTime tonight, so I will talk to her about that then. But thank you so much, Cass. Maybe I'll read this in this video. Hell, maybe I'll read this tomorrow. Honestly, I don't know if I'm gonna get to the Traveling Cat Chronicles just because of some things going on in my life. I'm like, I don't know if I want to read a cat book that's gonna make me sad right now. I don't know if that's the vibe. So I might swap that out to read Frieren. So yeah, I'm quite excited about this. I'm gonna go. I think tomorrow morning I want to spend a little bit of time updating my journal, but that's kind of my only plan for tomorrow morning. So I'll probably talk to you guys then. Maybe I'll have more thoughts on Yumi by tomorrow because I feel like right now I've just been like saying everything that has come to mind. But hopefully I will have organized my thoughts a little bit better about it by tomorrow. So I will see you guys then with hopefully an update of sorts. So it is now Monday morning. I'm here to do a couple of things. The first one being give you guys my final reading update for the video. I also have some book mail probably to open, and then I'm going to let you guys go. So this morning I did decide to pick up Frieren Beyond Journey's End Volume 1, and I am so intrigued to see where this series goes because prior to the events of this manga series, Frieren, who's our main character, who's kind of an elven mage, I believe, went on this whole journey with a couple of other people who are the people that are like on the cover. So this manga series is following the events after, like the big final climactic thing that you would typically get in like a fantasy series. But this series is focused on what happens after, especially when you are an elven mage that's going to outlive every other person you went on this journey with. So this first volume is really following her as she is experiencing all of her companions that went on this quest together dying. But watching Frieren go through this, she seems very like distant and detached from everything that's happening, and I feel like maybe the series is gonna focus on her feeling her emotions a little bit more because right now she seems kind of stone cold almost, I guess I would describe her as. But we're following her as she is kind of going through that. She also takes on an apprentice whose name is Fern, and we've kind of just been seeing them go on like side quests, basically. Some of them are like tangentially related to the people that she went on this like big epic quest with, but nothing major has really happened. And from what Cass has told me, this series is kind of full of them doing side questy type things. And so far, I'm really enjoying that concept. So I definitely want to pick up more volumes of Frerin. I'm gonna see if my library has like the other ones. I also really like the art style. There's this whole illustration, which I think I showed you guys maybe a couple days ago, of this castle. Is this a castle? Yeah, it's the Demon King's castle. And I was like, wow. I just love it. But I also did receive some packages this morning that I did not order myself. So I'm assuming they're from my Amazon wishlist. So I'm quite excited to open them. And I thought obviously we could open them in the video. So let me start with this one. Ooh, I'm super excited about this. Hang on, who is this from? All right, so this is from Mary, and they said, sent you a couple books, but I thought I'd send you some witchy vibes too. But this is In the Company of Witches by R.L.E. Wallace. I have been so intrigued in this book because I've seen a bunch of different people read it, and I mainly really wanted this so I could film like a cozy mystery type of vlog in August, I think is when I'm planning on doing that. So this is kind of perfect. Thank you so, so much, Mary. Also, just look at the cover of this book. Oh my god. The series is called An Evenfall Witches B&B Mystery. That sounds so quaint, honestly. I don't think I've ever properly read a cozy mystery, and that seems like something I would really be into. But like, look at the cover, like this creepy house in the background and a cat. There's also a little toad on the back of the book. Oh my god, I'm so excited about this. Oh my god, there's little toads on the front of it too. Stop, this is so cute. I cannot wait to read this book. I'm so excited about it. So thank you so much for that, Mary. I would assume the others are probably from you as well, which is incredibly kind of you. So let me open this up. Ow. And we'll see. Just hit my my elbow on my desk, but that's okay. Yes, these are indeed from Mary. Oh my god, this is, you totally didn't have to do this, but thank you so much. Oh, I'm so excited about these. Hang on. All right. So we have two. I'll talk about the most exciting one in a second, but like, obviously I'm really excited about all of these. So the first one we have is actually another book that I really want to read for that cozy mystery vlog, because we have A Shady Hollow by Juno Black. This is a cozy mystery book that is following, I think, a town full of animals. Like, they walk and talk and solve mysteries. I think there's a murder. So, well, it says it's a murder mystery. I don't know why I just said I think there's a murder. But I've heard just really fun things about this book, so I really want to read like this one, and then I need like another cozy mystery for a little vlog that I'm planning to film, so this is so perfect. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Also, the cover of this is just so cute. But this last one is absolutely the one that I'm the most excited about. I didn't even know that this thing existed, but as soon as I saw that it did, I was like, oh, okay, well, like, obviously I need to get that. And that's the Howl's Moving Castle picture book. Look at this. I'm so excited. Oh, it's also like printed on the actual hardcover. That's so nice. But obviously, I love Howl's Moving Castle. I love the art of the movie so much, and this is so beautiful. Look at this. I definitely want to read this. Like, I might go read it later today. Oh, look at them. Look at them. Wait, I'm so freaking excited about this. Honestly, like anything Howl's Moving Castle, I need it. I want it. I'm so excited. So thank you so, so much to Mary. You totally did not have to buy me this many books, but I'm so grateful to be able to receive these from you. So thank you so, so much. There's my very exciting book mail for the morning, because that's amazing. So I suppose I'm also now here to end the vlog because I have finished 3 books. They were not the 3 books that I said I was gonna read in this vlog. But it's been an interesting week, so this is kind of just how it's gonna be. Although actually, I did start reading one of the other stories out of Arcanum Unbounded. I think I'm almost finished with Six of the Dusk, maybe, and I don't really like it that much. I don't necessarily hate it, it's just not my favorite thing. However, obviously, I'm going to finish it because I do want to finish the 2 stories out of Arcanum Unbounded. I just didn't get around to doing it this week. But I did finish 3 stunning books in this video anyway, because I loved all of these, honestly. Obviously, Yumi and the Nightmare Painter, absolutely stunning. So stunning. I'm obsessed. I'm so happy to report that. And I probably will buy like the normal copy, like a paperback when it comes out, because I want to annotate it. Because I want to reread this. Like, literally, after I finished it, I was like, should I reread it now? But I was like, no, that would be a little bit insane. I can't say I haven't done that before, but I'm not gonna do it this time. But it was like one of those kind of books, you know what I'm saying? And then I also finished Persuasion. So I would say it was honestly like a stunning week of reading. I also did start Emma very briefly a couple of nights ago. I'm on page 6, so like I don't really think that warrants an update. But I want you to know that I started it, and I want you guys to be proud of me. So I definitely do plan on reading Emma this month. I don't know if I'll finish it this month, but also I feel like I read this one pretty quickly, so maybe I'll read that one pretty quickly. I don't know. We'll see. I'm just yammering at this point, so I'm gonna stop doing that. But yes, 3 stunning books for the video. Obviously, I would love to know down below, have you read any of these? Mainly, have you read Yumi and the Nightmare Painter? Because I want to talk about it with somebody. But aside from that, I really hope you guys enjoyed this vlog. I'm sorry I did not stick to my TBR, but honestly, sometimes it just happens that way. So I hope that's okay. But also before we go, I would like to thank everybody over on my Patreon. If you guys are ever looking for more content from me, it's always linked down below. As I've said in like my last few videos, I'm really excited about our buddy read this month because we are reading Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. It's gonna be so fun. Obviously, I've already read it, but like, this will be my first reread, and I think it's gonna be so good. So that's kind of that. If you want to join, you can, but obviously you don't have to. But with all that being said, I am actually gonna let you guys go. So again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're all having an amazing Monday so far, if that is the day that you're watching this. If it's not, I hope you're having an amazing whatever day it is that you're watching this. And I will see you guys in my next video.